I'm James O'Barr, artist, writer of The Crow, and you're watching Drinking with Comics.
How's my hair?
Beautiful.
Hello and welcome to How's My Hair with Mike Wellman.
I don't have a microphone.
You do. Trust me. You do.
Sabotage.
You do.
Now, hello. Welcome to Drinking with Comics. I'm Sean. This is Chris. That's Mike. That's Jordan. We've got Kirsten and Ray on cameras, and we've got a live studio audience. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Is this supposed to be warm?
It's room temperature. I just got it.
It's a Friday in early March, and Jordan is drinking mead.
Yeah.
Getting ready for Ren Fair.
Mead, which I believe you have drank that on this show before.
I have. Your Nordic friend was here when that happened last time. A mead for all seasons. Cold or hot, spiced or not.
Friend, John.
Oh, is he here?
Yeah, Viking.
He was here.
I never remember who comes. You guys have been here
He
before?
recited Conan like verbatim from the
Always
audience.
get drunk at these things.
And you asked him. So, what are you drinking, Mike?
I'm drinking Elysian Space Dust IPA.
So, the thing I didn't know this.
I don't know anything
beer.
about it, but
That beer has two of the three hops that are in Three Floyds. I think it's the Zombie Dust, which is, I don't think we have Three Floyds out here, but in the Midwest, Three Floyds is this like super scarce. Well, it's not.
it's got
as
Chinook,
scarce anymore.
Citra, and Amarillo hops.
Okay, I don't know which ones are which.
What are
But
hops? I should know this.
Well,
That ugly little plant.
This thing?
Yeah.
It's what they use to. So first of all, it's a preservative. So
Okay.
with the IPAs, the more hops, the more it will be. So it's literally India Pale Ale because they add extra hops to preserve it for the boat rides to India from England.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
To India from where?
From England.
Huh.
Yeah. So
Am I the only one that didn't know that?
we've talked about that on this show like every other episode.
Oh, okay.
But that's okay. I don't often remember stuff either, so I'm not pointing fingers at you.
And actually, it sounds like that's like the crazy new drug they do up at Dodger Stadium.
Elysian.
Space Dust IPA,
Elysian
that's why I
Space
bought it.
Dust.
Dude, I was on some Elysian last night. I don't even know what the fuck happened. Oh, wow. Woke up with Chewbacca in the bed.
I'm taking Gerald home tonight. Beat that.
I'll give you a 5-minute warning. You
I
run
need
out.
all the beer I can get.
What are you drinking?
I picked up the Karl Strauss, the Red Trolley Ale.
The beer, it's like it's good. It's not gonna.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Not
I mean,
gonna
it
wake
was,
me up in the middle of the night to open one. But
Went over to the liquor store next door, and it was cold.
Do you sometimes wake up
That
in
was
the
my
middle of the night and open
criteria.
beers?
I've been having trouble sleeping, and so what I'll do is I'll just get up and drink like 2 more beers, and hopefully it'll put me down.
Worst case, there's always heroin.
No, that's going to put you up.
And
What are you having, sir?
I went with an old familiar because I've had a stressful 12 days, and I needed something familiar. Which usually that would be Sierra Nevada is like my chicken soup for the soul. It is, but I've got a 12 of that at home.
Like instead of broth, but with beer in it now.
This is.
I don't know.
I've had this before, Dr. Jekyll's Beer Belly Kolsch. It's so delicious. It's organic.
pass that this
That's
way.
not a selling point. I don't care if it's
Pass
organic
it.
or not.
It's empty, I think, Jordan.
Oh, well, I'm going to smell it.
When I open another one, I'll let you taste it.
Yes.
It smells good.
There's a snappiness to it, so I don't know. But it's good. Yeah. So we actually, it's interesting. A lot of times we do this show and we end up not talking about comics. And it has a lot to do with this, but a lot of the times it's because we all read different things and then we bring them to the table and nobody's read everything. So last night Mike had the idea like, hey, why don't we get together and have dinner at my place, and then we can bring all the comics we're talking about, we can just pass them out and have a reading session, and we did, and it was
fun.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're mostly on the same page. And I'm always up for hearing about new things. So who wants to start? I mean, there's a lot of comics to talk about.
We're going to talk about a lot of comics tonight, so I hope you guys are...
You won't even recognize the show. You'll be like, there's all the comics on this show. What the hell? Just drinking with comics?
That's all right. I'll
the comics with drinking
I'll bring
tonight.
us back to the dysfunction that
good.
we're used
Yeah.
to.
And
So
then,
what do you got? Yeah, what are we going to kick it off with?
I do want to do a close your eyes and feel this near the end.
Okay,
So,
I
watch
brought
that.
stuff to feel.
We have the ultimate.
Oh, do you have something to feel?
Yeah, Chris does. So
Oh, geez.
for those of you who have never been here before, you
Oh,
may be
my.
thinking of leaving at this point.
Uh-oh.
We all safe.
No. I've done something.
So who wants to start?
You do.
I do?
Yeah.
Okay. So this, I'm just going to go with the one that I was most excited about. I didn't know about this until like 2 days ago. Chris messaged me,
Ooh, that's a variant, too.
and
Yeah, that's a
dude,
that's a rare cover.
This book, so Gideon Falls, Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino and Dave Stewart. I didn't even know it was coming out. I read the description. I was so sold. So it deals with a man in a city who's obsessed with garbage. He goes through the garbage and he finds things like nails and pieces of wood and puts them in jars and dates them. So it cuts from that, and then him talking to a psychologist who's basically like, you are not doing well anymore, I may have you recommitted. And then his kind of like an internal thing where he's like, I can't tell her what I know because she'll think I'm nuts and I don't trust her, blah, blah, blah. Then there's a Catholic priest who is being sent to this small town, Gideon Falls, because he's done something that has ostracized him from where he was previously stationed. I'm gonna guess I know what that probably is. The
Catholic priests usually do.
I mean,
but it seems like
it could be. It maybe not. Actually, you know what? It probably isn't. It's probably something more like mysterious.
He basically got run out of or kicked off or whatever that. Yeah, and he was teaching. He was teaching at the seminary for whatever reason, and they reassigned him.
That's right. So they send him to a small town. They're like, the priest there just died. His congregation needs a shepherd, and he doesn't want to go. He goes. And so it kind of weaves these two together, and it's really nice and cinematic. You get like shots of the one, and the dialogue or narration for the other will be over it. So visually, it's got a cool kind of cinematic thing like that. But then
it's very scratchy looking.
It's very scratchy looking, which I really like.
Mm-hmm.
It almost reminds me.
It works really well.
Yes, it has a little bit of a quality. There's a couple books right now that have a similar art style. I can't think of.
It's very designed. Like the pages are designed very well. This is I think it's Andrea Sorrentino, if I'm not mistaken. It might be a guy.
They worked on Green Arrow together, which I never read the stuff.
Look at that. I mean, you can actually live in this book a little bit.
Yeah.
Like it kind of draws you in and into the rooms and into the environment. It is grim. Andrea Sorrentino, yeah.
So Lemire says that it's like the thing that's going to end up tying these characters together is this place that appears in different places. It's called the Black Barn. We don't know what it is yet, but it's been known to appear like in the city where the garbage guy is, in the town where the priest is. It has a real weird fiction kind of feel to it, so I knew right away because that's kind of like I'm into that like subgenre or whatever of literature, so I was excited for this, and it totally delivered. I read it today on lunch. It was fantastic. The back of it's great because Lemire talks about how he's had some of these characters for over 20 years, and he talks about how he came up in like different iterations of trying to get this made, and it never happened. And it was cool. It was just really good.
Lemire, he grew up in the sort of backwoods of Canada, in a place called Hero County, which might have been his first series.
I think you might.
There's a big fat thing we have called Hero County, and he can draw his own stories, but which when he works with an artist, that makes it so he can actually tell a story that an artist can work with. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So Rick Remender is the same way, where he used to be an artist and gets all these amazing artists to work with, and while he can draw himself, but he knows how to best utilize the talents and powers of a comic artist. Yeah.
That's really good. I mean, it is interesting that
that's the smartest thing I'll say all night.
Lemire talks about growing up in like a rural area and then moving to the city for film school when he was 20 in like, I forget what it was, 96 or whatever.
Yeah.
And so he's like my age, and that's in the book too, the urban kind of rural juxtaposition. So I really enjoyed it. It sold out here, so thank you for the
sold out everywhere.
I was messaging you repeatedly, like, did you get me a copy?
Yeah, that was the funny thing, is I was just kind of scrolling through some shit online, and the little blurb popped up about it. I read it, and I'm like, dude, it sounds great. I'm like, oh, out tomorrow. So I was like, hey, Mike, save me one, buddy. And I thought it'd be right up your alley. I mean, it sounded like like it could very well fit like in the Twin Peaks universe.
Yeah,
from the description. And then you look at the name, it's like Twin Peaks, Gideon Falls.
She thought it was Gravity Falls.
I thought it was a cartoon.
What are your thoughts on it, Jordan?
I really loved it. The character designs are great, and I really want to know everything that's going on right now because
the girl with the hook, or the woman with the hook,
the old woman. The old woman.
Yeah.
No, it's great. I want to know how the old priest died. I want to know everything. I want to know is this dude insane? Which it looks like he's not totally insane, but
that's what
he's got to have something. But
the screws loose, but you don't. That doesn't necessarily mean he's wrong. Just because you're paranoid, don't mean they're not.
Yeah. So I love it. I'm hooked.
Cool.
Selling me some comics.
Who else? Somebody hit me.
What?
Comic.
All right.
Pony up, fucker.
This is one that actually Sean turned me on to. Punk's Not Dead. And this one here, you got it too? Can we do the...
Synchronized.
Fancy.
can all do it.
So this one here, this is one of the.
Okay.
Was this like the first or one of the first from the new IDW imprint?
They had an anthology
Black
come
Crown.
out.
Black
I know.
That's why I said one of the first.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of their more for mature readers.
Is this Shelley Bond is the
Well, like you
editor,
pointed out with
right?
IDW.
Yeah, they're primarily a bunch of like licensed things. You know,
Which
they
isn't a
have
bad
a lot
thing,
of Doctor
but-
Who.
Well, Shelley
Star
Bond used
Treks,
to be one of the main editors at Vertigo, who left, and now she has a home at IDW, and that's what the Black Crown thing is. So when they before they premiered, they sent me a nice little like care package with a USB thing that has a lot of their comics and
cool.
Yeah, like neat little trinkets. So they're taking a very, I guess, unorthodox punk rock approach to making comics, kind of like Black Mask, and this is Black Crown.
Yeah. David Barnett is the writer, and Martin Simmons with a D. Simmons. But yeah, what's really interesting with it is essentially it's about this kind of little loner, little British kid who becomes haunted by the ghost of Sid Vicious. They never outright say Sid Vicious,
but it's Sid Vicious.
But they straight call him Sid, and it looks exactly like him.
He's a lot smarter than Sid Vicious
that's
was.
True. That's true.
I mean, maybe our ghosts are smarter than us.
Well, you got to figure too. He's had 40 years
to educate himself in heaven or hell.
Well, and
purgatory, brother.
He explains he's like been stuck in this airport.
He's been stuck
for 40 years
because
his mom had his ashes and she
Heathrow.
spilled them.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
He was
I've been stuck in this fucking airport for 40 years.
Yeah, his mom tripped and dropped his ashes, and he got sucked into the air conditioning, and he's been trapped. And this kid comes into this airport for whatever reasons, and evidently he's the first and only living person who's seen him since he died. He's the only one who can see him, and from that point, he just latches onto him.
And they don't even know why. Then at some point he's like, "Oh wait, I'm out. Okay, cool. I guess I'm stuck with you, and you're stuck with me."
Yeah, because originally he was trapped in the airport. He couldn't leave the airport.
So there's something about the kid that's special too.
And all the while, there's a branch of MI5.
Yeah.
That's basically, it's like their
cult.
BPRD X-Files.
Yeah.
It's this one kind of old woman, and it's very mod too.
She's mod. She's an old mod.
Yeah,
they do the flashback.
Yeah, exactly. She looks like Emma Peel from the British the Avengers. And then she gets assigned to her this little kind of intern guy that she really doesn't want to deal with. And it's a very promising,
great artwork.
Yeah, great artwork.
Very Fraser Irving.
Yeah, nice colors. I mean, speaking of ghosts, and I'm not going to bring the show down, I promise, but
we're haunted.
My mom passed away last month, right? And they always people say, "Oh, she'll always be watching, she'll always be with you." But it's really fucking with my masturbation techniques, because it's like, Mom.
What? So you're jerking off and the lamp falls off?
My mom's always watching me now, and it's like, fuck. So, and some of the other things I do, but certainly, I hope she understands if she's watching.
I think if you've moved on to the plane immaterial, I think that masturbation's probably.
In all honesty, she's probably dealt with a number of your crusty socks growing up that she doesn't even care anymore.
44 and still doing it. Go, son. I don't know. Anyway, it's something
you can do. I'm proud of you.
Something I thought of.
This is what we do here.
And what would she think of that joke?
She'd probably,
Would she shake her head but still love you?
That wasn't a joke.
Oh.
That was a joke.
No, it wasn't. It totally wasn't.
Shake my hand.
Many crusty socks.
So, one of the things about this book, I noticed right away, the kid that ends up seeing kind of like Sid's attached to him, he has an interesting relationship with his mom. They show him first he's getting beat up at school, but then the next scene him and his mom go on these reality shows and
Jerry Springer
and pretend to be, so they sell themselves as these shows. We need a mom whose son is gay but doesn't want to admit it, or we need whatever, and they go a circuit and do this stuff. And there's so he's been raised with a certain amount of this deceit and trickery.
They're grifters.
It's like Tyler Durden and his mom.
Yeah.
It totally reminded me. Or wait, not Tyler Durden. I'm sorry, Choke, the guy in Choke.
Yeah.
Because they changed the color of the hairspray. It was domestic terror. You can't really say that anymore. But I guess you could when Choke came out. But But it was interesting. So it reminded me a little bit of a Chuck Palahniuk story in that regard. But then the thing with the Sid ghost, it's not really Sid. So it's not a spoiler because the author talks about it at the end. He says, then there's Sid. We might think that as a ghost, Sid is the soul or spirit of someone who's passed over. But that's what he thinks. But it's more complicated than that. Sid is a spirit, but he's the spirit of 77, the spirit of punk rock. He's an entity that doesn't know what it really is. He's a collection of energy that is infused with the essence of punk. And what's more essential to the core of punk than looking maybe just a little bit like someone who wants to look like a picture they once saw of Sid Vicious. He's an archetype, a spirit world amalgam, an unself-aware fiction suit. I mean, this is so Grant Morrison Invisibles right there, like the fiction suit stuff.
But it's all, and that right there, that's also they're out for, you can't sue us.
Yeah, right.
Did you read
plus,
this?
like,
No,
I
it's
didn't,
an
but it
homage
looks
to a very
really great. I
similar
wish I
type
had.
character.
You can read it together.
Yeah.
Okay.
But great book, and I'm really looking
No,
forward
no.
to
That's not
issue
my
2,
masturbating.
and I'm really looking forward to if this kind of sets up what the caliber of things that Black Crown is going to be putting out. Then I'm really looking forward to seeing what they have in
do
store.
now.
Exactly.
I miss Vertigo. I mean, I know they still.
Well, Vertigo's still around.
Yeah, but it's just.
that's
I mean,
not good.
they still
It's
publish
kind of been
great
neutered
stuff.
a bit.
They still publish great stuff, but I feel like I miss the Vertigo, like.
I feel like Vertigo back in the day, they always had like one really great book, be it Sandman or Preacher or Why the Last Man.
What did you just say?
They always would have. I'm not saying I like Sandman.
Okay,
but
I
they
just
always,
was like, wait.
They always had a book that would like hook people in and
What
like.
did you do to Mike Willman?
Yeah, where is he? No,
You don't like Sandman?
I like Sandman. I don't. I make Neil Gaiman jokes a lot. But anyway.
Neil Gaiman is a national treasure.
Yes, that's
not our nation, but.
But anyway,
He
they
is
always
a
have
nation-
this
he's
one
a
book that goes
national
like
treasure.
60 or
Not my
75
treasure.
issues that like keeps people coming
Their
to Vertigo.
flagship title.
And they have like
Preacher
5 or
was
6 other books
Yeah.
that kind of are, oh, you discovered this because I like Sandman. I saw an ad for it. They need that book. Right
Well,
now.
I mean, they had a very coherent world with Sandman and Hellblazer and Books of Magic and
Swamp
Lucifer
Thing.
and Swamp Thing. So that's what I mean. It's that British New Wave
Yeah.
generation of writers, and they kind of had this coherent scene within.
Nah.
And it's, I mean, it's just not what they do
League
anymore.
of
But you,
Extraordinary Gentlemen was originally on Vertigo.
No, that was
no, it's ABC. American
No.
Best Comics.
That was
The-
Wildstorm.
No. The first run was
Sure it
Vertigo.
wasn't. We have a
I don't
science
think it
officer
was.
to
I think it
fact check
was.
you.
You may be right. I don't think it was.
I don't think it was.
V for Vendetta was.
That wasn't actually.
V for Vendetta
that's
was
not a
First
Vertigo
and
book.
Warrior,
They
isn't
bought
it?
the rights
Did
to
they?
From
publish
a
it.
British thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty certain.
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain.
Well,
It's Vertigo.
have that.
I know.
That's why we have a science officer, dude.
Look that shit up, Lon.
Now it's published.
Anyway,
So, my turn. Speaking of
your
British,
turn.
Your turn.
The Beef by my good dear friend Richard Starkings, who just wrapped up 80 issues of Elephant Man. Moved to Tennessee.
Oh, he moved to Tennessee.
Moved to Tennessee.
That's why I never see him here anymore.
And that's why this book is infested with rednecks.
Why the
I
fuck?
think.
Now I
No, but he was working on this before he moved away. But The Beef is sort of an old school Marvel origin story by way of Duck Dynasty. What, you smelling me?
That's pretty good.
No, he was checking the facts. The original
you,
publisher was ABC,
ABC.
then Wildstorm, then DC, then
DC.
Top
I'll
Shelf,
never
and
lie to you.
Knockabout Comics.
I'll never lie to you. Oh, there you go.
Well,
No.
Thank
that's-
you.
So you can
So The Beef,
Cheers, you proved me wrong. Come on.
written
like
by
it.
Richard Starkings and Tyler Shaneline, and with art and colors by Shaky Kane, who I happen to really like his style.
Very straight lines for someone named Shaky. Gotta say.
Yeah. I don't think it's his real name, but Shaky Kane did a really cool book about 10 years ago called Bulletproof Coffin.
Oh, there's an ad for it in the back. I always hear that reference.
You
but I've
would
never,
love it.
Really? Okay.
Oh, you would love it so much. You read it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So-
awesome. And I mean, his art is so like kind of childlike and colorful, but it's also so very violent.
You know what
That's
it
pretty
reminds me of? It reminds me of some of the old cartoons from MTV
like
Liquid
liquid television. Yeah, totally.
yeah.
Totally.
A little Mike Allred, a little Jack Kirby,
A little sick, sad world.
a little Sick Sad World. And so, yeah, I read this about 6 months ago, so I don't remember everything, but I remember it's a kid who grew up. His dad was in the meat industry. They kill cows. Richard is a vegetarian, so I knew going in this was not going to be a pro-beef comic.
It's not? I thought it was. No, I'm kidding.
In fact, there's the Surgeon's General warning. There is shit in your meat. Which when I was home in North Carolina, we wrote a song. Me and Duff wrote a song called "The Shit Is in the Meat."
Hey, fun fact about vegetables. You know what they use to grow them?
Fertilizer.
Shit. There's shit in
Cycle
everything.
of life, my friends. Cycle of life.
Yeah.
There's certainly shit in this show.
Fuck yeah, there is.
So, who else read? Did you read it?
I read this one, yeah.
What'd you think?
Ugly, heavy-handed with the stereotypes. Definitely not meat eater friendly.
And you're a
But-
meat eater.
Oh, a huge meat eater. But,
Okay, but
the story's not bad so far.
Yeah, continue with the premise, though. You know, you're gonna.
I don't know where we left off.
So it's like it's genetically modified meat, and it gets in the dude, and he turns into a living slab of meat. By the way, I was eating a steak when I read this.
Nice.
Because he's
basically
been
instead of
eating that
turning
stuff for
into-
like 40 years.
Yeah.
Instead of turning into the Hulk, he turns into the beef.
Yeah, just like a big slab of walk-in meat.
That was really what made me kind of hooked me a little bit because I mean, I liked it, but I also, and I'm a person. I have no problem with vegetarians. I wish I could be one. I can't. Like I tried. It hasn't worked.
I would shrivel up and die. End of story.
But I didn't. It was heavy-handed. I feel like with some, but I appreciated. My favorite part was like some of the factual stuff about like the biochemistry of
I liked
eating
that
and drinking
part.
this stuff. I thought the thing with the redneck heavy-handedness. Now I understand because he just moved to Tennessee. Maybe.
But I think that was he had written this before he moved.
It reminded me of the way Rob Zombie, when he always has these redneck characters, and he just repeatedly is like, "Oh, I don't think they get that they're white trash yet. We need to put in another scene of them being white." It's like, dude, we got it in the first 5 minutes. Move along.
But you grew up in Chicago.
I mean, I felt like
Because I know people in North
He
Carolina
really-
where it's like you like what you just said.
I know-
I get that you're white trash. You can stop now.
I just
You know,
felt like
there's real people
let's
like
put it
that.
this way. I felt
There's a
like the
reason they're called flyover
characterizations.
states.
Yeah, the characterizations got in the way of the story a little bit. Now, I
Okay.
don't think that'll last. I think this set it up and it'll go from here.
Right.
But there was a point where I was like, I get it. Like, I don't need all this dialogue proving to me that they're white trash.
You know, it's funny because we read like 5 or 6 comics last night, and for me, like this one, the characterization, like maybe I'm just old school, but I love those old school like Marvel comics from the '60s, the origin of the Hulk, where things are very broad strokey, you know.
I
And
mean, that may have been his intention too, since the rest of it is very like
yeah.
That
So
very well
it's
may
like
be.
an old school
It's like a meta
1960s
approach to writing. Yeah.
Marvel. That looks like Stan. Marvel comic.
Oh yeah, I thought that while reading it.
Did you?
Yeah.
So I recommend it. For
I
me,
would recommend it.
I almost do need things spelled out for me sometimes.
I don't think.
Like I didn't understand anything I read in the one we talked about earlier.
Gideon Falls.
Yeah, I just like the buildings. I was like, oh, this is cool. And I understood he was coming from somewhere. And I read this today, and that was great.
Oh,
But
I
we'll talk
thought-
about that later.
That was great.
Oh,
Yeah.
mhm.
I don't think you read it.
No, I did not.
I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
The next one.
Does
why don't
Jordan have
you-
one?
Wait,
Do you have
What?
one, Jordan?
Huh? What?
You want to talk about anything?
Oh, about the beef? No.
No, I mean about any kind
About
of
anything?
Oh, fuck. I don't know. I guess the thing, because I remember that one some more, because I
You
read
want-
that
you
one
wanna talk about
last.
Swamp Thing?
We don't have to talk about it right now, but
Project into the microphone, doll.
oh my god, we can talk about that one later. So I read all of Cal. No, I didn't. Oh my god, I didn't read Cal Exit. I read.
Maybe
I read.
talk about what you read.
All right, fine. The Swamp Thing. Let's see. The Swamp Thing helps a little boy through the snow, and they talk about football.
That's it.
Everyone in the audience is like, well, you lost a sale on that one.
I'm not a
I can
good
relate.
salesperson at
I can
all.
relate.
Dumbledore's dead.
They they do something really good with the little kid in the end, but it's
Gross.
once again Frankenstein's monster finds an innocent child.
Yeah,
I've read it before. I will read it again, but this I have no qualms with this.
I think that Tom King, it seems like that's what he was doing exactly that, just a reiteration of it. So it wasn't. I liked the way that it was told, not necessarily what was told.
I agree.
I didn't get the football stuff. I mean, we were kind of
Well,
distracted.
it intros it and outros it, right?
Yeah, but I didn't
Yeah.
totally understand how it fit and meshed with it. But I think I just missed something because we were talking while I was reading it, and I was like cutting away from it and going back to it. But I think it's
Maybe, but
beautifully
the
done.
footballer blamed him sucking at the game on like it must have been a monster.
Well, what did it have to
I
do
don't
with the little boy in the
Well,
swamp?
I think it's
That's what I
sports when
didn't
they say
understand.
that he's a monster. Like when he's a monster and he's a football player, that's a compliment.
Maybe I need to
Yeah.
watch more sports, but
Maybe I
I
shouldn't have had
won't,
movies
but I
playing
won't.
while we read comics.
But you know, the back of this is so there's two stories. The second one is the last script for a Swamp Thing
Is that
story that
Solomon
Len Wayne, I can't say Wayne
that
did.
Solomon Grundy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before he passed away, he's the creator, one of the two creators, and he didn't get a chance to actually like write the dialogue. So it's a script, and Kelly Jones, who I believe I've had some of his books on here before, like The Hammer, I love. But he's a very Bernie Wrightson influenced artist, and he did all the art for the story, and then Len never got to actually write the dialogue, so they just present it without dialogue. And
with the story afterwards, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But it's really, it was beautiful, and for like a last parting, story for this character that he created. That's now archetypal. Like I just thought it was a really good way to go out. So it was cool. It was really cool.
I think Tom King is probably the best mainstream writer in comics right now. That's working for the big two. I think Tom King is probably the best writer in comics. Is working for Marvel, DC.
Does he write for Marvel too?
Well, I'm just saying, out of the big two.
Out of the big two.
He did. He wrote the Vision series.
Okay.
Really
Which
good.
Everybody says is good. Yeah.
Yeah, and he writes Mr. Miracle. He writes Batman. He does a really good job on Batman. He wrote that Batman annual you read,
which was great. Well, we previously had that Batman Bugs Bunny book, which
he wrote that. Yeah,
begrudgingly by the end of the show, I was like, okay,
that was fun. That was a fun book.
Yeah, so he's a really smart writer, and he's not like Grant Morrison smart, where he's like, let me show you how smart I am. He just does smart comics that, like, oh wow, like that's pretty fresh.
I read my comics with a thesaurus.
It feels very classic.
Yeah,
he's got a very classic approach. So, but without being like really beholden to like, oh, he's doing the Jack Kirby, or oh, he's doing the Stanley.
He can touch your feels, when the kid asked the Swamp Thing to be his dad because his dad died in the snow, I was like, oh, poor little guy, and he's like, you wouldn't be a monster if you were my dad.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, yeah. I'm not going to cry in front of you guys tonight.
Yeah, so I don't want to give anything away, but I feel like the ending has been done before, and I'm not attacking it. I enjoyed reading it, but I feel like I've seen that in something.
Was it one of those books that you read the book, and then at the end of the book you're like, didn't I already read this like a couple years ago?
Yeah, I don't know. It's good, though. I recommend it. Kristen Perez super duper loves it, and she cried at the end.
Right?
No.
I see you in where am I going to see you, Kristen?
Isn't it great to
see you at WonderCon? I'll see you there. See you around.
Piece of art make you cry. It's cool.
Yep.
Yeah. We are. You tell her we are.
For me, it's Gilmore Girls every time, man. That episode where with the chainsaw. Fuck.
Fucking
chainsaw.
Fucking Rory, dude. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's Ash vs. Evil.
No, doing that juggling the chainsaw and the shit.
The end of the video game, The Walking Dead Season 1, made me cry.
The video game?
There's a video game by Telltale Games before we realized that your choices don't matter. Made me cry. You would have thought someone I loved died.
Wow.
Somebody died on the show? Or?
It's a video game, and it's not related to the show as far as characters go.
It's kind of like a choose your own adventure type
No,
thing.
I have the Guardians of the Galaxy
all the ends
one.
kind of end to the
I'll
same.
never get to the end because I'm Star-Lord. And I'm stuck in front of this door like 5 minutes into the game. Like, what the fuck do I do?
What, on Telltale? And you can't beat
fucking
it?
Google.
No, I can't.
But is it by Telltale?
It's like the opening.
This
to open the door in my
I'm an idiot. Come
I
over and play it.
I will, because Telltale gives you everything. It's like you're playing through a movie. You don't do
I'll
anything.
make pasta.
It's not like it's like 1985 and you have to call the hotline.
No, I'm like, what do I do? Like,
you're not looking at something and clicking Y.
I just am not good at this.
That's why I don't play video games.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're good at life. I just don't think you're good.
Yeah,
not being good at video games does not equal not being good at life.
Yeah.
In fact, sometimes being good at video games equals not being good at life.
Okay, well now I know. That's not what my
and knowing is half the battle.
Yes.
I'm not saying across the board. I'm just saying.
All right, who's got a comic book? Let's talk about more. We read a lot of comics last night.
Did we?
Oh yeah, we read that one.
I read half of that one, and I loved everything about that.
The half you read.
And I got distracted and needed to drink more wine and make more stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So you sold it. I wasn't going to read this. I haven't read it yet, but you give your
Oblivion Song. So Oblivion Song. This is the new book by Robert Kirkman. From The Walking Dead and Invincibles.
Oh yes.
Which
singular.
What?
Invincible.
There was more than one issue.
Well, there were 144.
Fucking A, dude. So he wrote Invincibles. Just like you were The Walking Dead's.
Did he write Watchmen's?
Are you watching The Walking Dead's again?
Oh,
Give me another Miller's Light.
So So this is his new book now that Invincible
Oblivion Songs. Once issue 2 comes out.
Oblivion Sang. That's good. That's the past tense. Okay. That's what happens when you. So basically, this is his new book, and the premise is a really fascinating premise. Essentially, it is 10 years after a national tragedy transpired, in which thousands of people lost their lives when a big chunk of, what was it, Philadelphia? Right? Was it Philadelphia? All of a sudden, poofed out of existence and was replaced by a big chunk of an alien planet, another dimension. They haven't really quite, said what it is yet. A couple of years after the fact, they discovered that that this area, it didn't just poof out of existence. What happened was this location here actually traded places with the alien world. So this chunk of Philadelphia is now on this alien world. And it's basically...
It's like that Eddie Murphy movie.
Golden Child?
No, Trading Places.
The Weird Mars one?
Yeah. Huh? With Pluto Nash?
Pluto Nash.
Fucking hey, dude. So basically it's about the main character, Nathan Cole. Right?
His first name is Nathan. I don't remember
Nathan Drake.
So he is... so they found a way to travel between the two worlds to basically try to find survivors, people who've been living in this hell on, I don't want to say hell on Earth, it's not really Earth at this point.
Hell on Smurf.
Hell on Smurf.
Hell in Philly.
Trying to, rescue survivors and bring them back. And there's a whole bit in there with, this big, it's very like 9/11-ish of how the American people see this. So...
Or
there's a giant
Vietnam memorial is what it looks like, right?
Oh, there's a memorial on it?
There's a giant memorial, and every time he finds people and brings them back, he goes and he scratches their name off of the thing. Now, the government, they won't fund any more of his research to do this because they want to be done with it. They just say, you know what, fuck it happened, it's not worth their resources. Maybe traversing between these two things is going to weaken stuff, and it's going to happen again on a bigger scale. We don't know. So he's going back and forth, and his main motivation is that his brother was one of the people that was lost.
Oh,
he doesn't know if it's his.
You didn't get that far.
If he lived, he didn't know if his brother if he died. If he's still there.
Closure.
Exactly, he wants closure. So he's going back and trying to rescue everybody that he can. Now, what's really interesting is we see in here that there are some survivors, and they view him almost like the Richard Matheson novel, I Am Legend. They just know him as this kind of enigmatic figure who shows up, and he
takes people.
He takes people, and they literally like just zap out of existence, in front of their eyes. So they don't know what's going on.
They don't know he's saving people.
They don't know, as far as they know, he's killing them, he's doing this, he's doing that. And meanwhile, this whole other alien world is full of just giant Cloverfield-looking monsters and all kinds of just really
I love the artwork
things.
and the colors in it.
Oh, yeah. Did you guys mention the religious nut jobs?
In the book?
There are religious nut jobs who post
in the real world?
In the book.
Okay.
They post up by the memorial, and they're like, "Oh, God did this for a reason."
Yeah,
and
the people coming back.
Don't trust the people coming back.
What deal did they make with
what deal did they make with the devil?
Ooh, all that kind of stuff.
Something I missed.
So there is, there is a whole, there's a lot of different little things going on there. You're playing in the works. But so you see these survivors here in the end who they witness him, vanishing and, snagging all these people, and they don't know what's going on, and they say, okay, well, you know what, we need to try to capture this guy to figure out what is happening. But it is very much an I Am Legend kind of vibe to it, where like this person, from our perspective, he's going there and he's saving people. From their perspective,
oh, you see
we don't know.
Two O's make an infinity kind of thing or whatever.
Well, it's like the two worlds.
Oh, I see what's going on there.
Oh, yeah, it's a Venn diagram.
Oh, okay.
More than the infinity symbol.
Yeah.
Thank you for correcting me, Science Officer Jordan. So they did something really interesting in promoting this book where they sent us a trade paperback.
Really?
Of the first 4 issues, yeah. Before we could even order number 1.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wait, do you have all 4? And can I read them? Oh my God.
I don't know if we can let people read them.
No, not these people. Me.
I mean, because you're like press. Right?
Yeah.
She's got clearance. She's a science officer.
I think if you ask Robert,
I gotta make
Kirkman,
sure
I see.
that the science is right.
Yes, maybe.
So
I won't
spoiler
say
alert:
that on
everybody
TV.
dies. Don't bother buying it.
But he's got like 30 issues planned out, so that's
Ooh.
cool. And like with Walking Dead and a lot of stuff he does, like and Invincible, I heard had a very satisfying conclusion.
He's great at the long game, man.
Yeah, so I
Walking
mean,
Dead
he
is-
knows where it's going.
I
and-
could never get into that other book.
I never read
Invincible?
it.
Yeah, I read the first like 4 issues.
Are you sure
and it's
you
like,
weren't
man,
reading Invincibles?
I could have been. No. I read the first like 4 or 5
It's the
issues.
yellow and
dude.
blue dude. You know, he's actually the Image logo, right? Invincible, like his
Oh my
costume is the
God,
Image
it
logo.
is.
Yeah.
Wow,
Dude, what a way to kiss ass. Seriously. That's just like, I'm ready.
Like, this book has to be Image. It's the Image
Fuck yeah,
logo.
Wow.
it has nothing to do with The Incredibles, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I love how the comic starts with us not in the know of what the fuck is happening.
Well, what you said, I remember you were thumbing through it and you're like, I don't know what's going on. It's just like 8 pages of just sound effects.
Yeah.
In the beginning, yeah, it felt
Yeah.
like a manga.
It starts with a whole little chase scene kind of going on. It's just lots
Yeah.
of.
I had no idea what was happening, but I was still
Yeah, a lot
happy
of-
about it, and it's
So
good.
I used to do
I'm not like
adaptation
that.
work for Tokyopop back like 10 years ago.
I don't know what that means.
Like, so they would translate the books to English, but the people that translated didn't really know. They knew English, but it would be very
They don't know the
stiff.
syntax.
But I would love these issues where it'd be like 40 pages of oof, ah. You know, and I'd have to change a oof to a ah.
I was just gonna say.
Just so I could feel like I was doing my job, you know?
People fucking paid you to do that
They
shit?
did $500 an issue, dude.
You'd be
God
surprised,
damn.
It's
man.
tight. That's probably why they went out of business, but
Well, now they got
they're back in business.
Well, no, now they got fucking Google to just type that shit in. And
No, that's a real work. You
The
can get
fans,
that
the
job you
fans
can
will
get.
do it for free, though. That's how I watched my
Oh, but
animes.
shame on anyone that does that.
Taking my germ.
They say
Look at those
support the
fans taking my
original.
germs.
I mean, not shame on the fans, but shame on
Shame
any
on the fans.
No, shame on any company that does it. That's like Neil Gaiman's wife, Amanda Palmer. Like, I don't want to pay a band, so I'm coming to your town. Who wants to
If
volunteer
you
to
pay
play
for my
drums?
Kickstarter, you can
Like,
be my
get a
bass
band.
player.
Well, no, yeah, pay people.
That's why I don't like
Yeah,
Neil Gaiman.
that's
what?
Pay people.
'Cause his
But
wife
if I
is
can
horrible.
get stuff early and then buy it later, that's what I'm gonna do.
I understand. But
Any
like,
man who would
all I'm
marry a
saying
horrible
is,
person like Amanda Palmer is a horrible man.
if
A lot
you're,
of people
if
marry
you're
a lot of horrible people,
Tokyopop and you need somebody to translate, don't be like, oh, you're a fan, you want to do it for free? Like,
Oh no,
pay
they're
somebody.
they're not asking anybody. I'm
Okay, I'm
saying
just
that the
wondering.
fans
Did they do
translate manga and stuff because
And it's
it's
out
not
there for
available
free.
in America yet.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. And I'm pro that. And then you buy the manga when it comes out.
I want to do that and just like fuck it all up. I just want
I
to
did.
make up my own shit and be
There was the villain in Cyborg 009.
Sure,
And the villain in Cyborg like 10 years ago, or maybe longer, because I would put George Bush quotes in as his dialogue. He'd be like, "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I won't get fooled again." And that was like,
Meet the new boss.
Yeah.
Same as the old boss.
because that's what I do.
Teenage
Let's
waste.
see.
Did they say nuclear?
Nuclear power.
Yeah, no, that was
They got the
that was our
nuclear
super villain.
And he
back
said,
then.
where wings take dream.
Is that what he said?
He said something. There's a quote about such and such and such and such where dreams take wing. He fucked it up.
So, your dreams take wing.
They take
Where
wing.
wings take dream.
The Chinese singer lady.
Come.
Wing.
Oh no, her.
So
Okay, what's
Yeah, no,
next?
she's
I'm-
great. South Park did an
He's-
episode
yeah,
on her.
I'm going to spring one on you guys that we didn't do. I'm just going to do a quick plug for
Do
this.
it.
So we had Josh, Finney, and Kat Rocha on here
This was about 2 years ago.
2 years ago or so. They are
We've
the
been around that
lifeblood
long?
of 01
We've
Publishing.
been around that long?
Yeah, we've been here 4 years, man.
Jesus Christ.
2018. Wake up. Or actually, go.
We
go
gotta
back.
grow up.
Wake up, sheeple.
So they did Josh and Patrick McVoy who's an awesome Lovecraft artist. I mean, he's an awesome artist, period, but he does a lot of Lovecraft work for like games and tabletop games, I guess, and stuff. They did this book, Casefile Arkham, and it's a mashup of like crime noir and Lovecraft, and it was great. So this is the second one. I kickstarted this like months ago, and I got it like maybe a month ago.
Huh.
Casefile Arkham, Her Blood Runs Cold, another noir. It follows the same Hank Flynn PI. It's so good. Like the way they take, you wouldn't necessarily. Once you get in there, you're like, of course, noir would mash up with Lovecraft. It's like same time era and just similar, like a darkness and aesthetic. but they do it so well. And this one even more. Like, I feel like the way they're creating together as writer-artists is so... they've just, like... Again, this is a word I hate, but is appropriate. Like, there's a synergy there. Like, so it just...
It's like there's more than one artist who worked on it.
No, it's all Patrick. It's really good. I really like
I have the first one. I really enjoyed the first one. I had no idea that they had the...
This one's better. And they go more into...
I got the first one when they were on the show.
When they were here.
Yeah.
They're setting up a third book. And so you're getting more of this PI. Like, there's something going on with him. You're not really sure what, but there's something that...
Did they do it as a webcomic and then collect it? Or something?
No. They just made that. It's really good.
Did you have the first one here? I think
we did.
Yeah,
the first one's on the show.
Yeah. Cool.
Really good.
Nice. Okay.
So
came with a bookmark.
Yeah.
So and I guess you're on page 1.
No, I finished it. I arbitrarily put the bookmark in. What else we got?
We got Cal Exit. Finally, after a fucking year.
No, it's been what, like 6 months?
Well, the first one came out. No, first one came out after the election. It's been about a year.
The first one came out like 2 months before what's SDCC did.
I didn't realize that.
Which was what, July?
Okay, so we're not. It's not, dude. They're doing better than I am.
Yeah, but that's your model.
Yeah. But that's your model.
Oh, that's how.
Yeah. You're self-publishing. This is on.
I still didn't read
Black
it. I've had it for like a week.
And it looks like it's like more than 22 pages. It looks like
it's
like
better than the
pages.
first one. Like, the story, I felt like really ramped a bit.
Okay.
I really liked it. The first one I liked, but this one it stayed with me for hours afterwards. It actually like elevated my mood. Like, I felt like I was like, oh, this was like, it was good.
I'm excited then.
Yeah.
It's hard to talk about it without, so California's fragmented and it's this political landscape, not like kind of an extrapolation of where we are now. That's pretty realistic. A couple years down the road, and California's fragmented, and there's different like allegiances and areas
California that are, essentially,
parts of it want to secede, and parts of it the government's trying to control that, and there's resistance fighters, and I really liked it.
Do you think the first one did a good job, like setting up the second one? Like,
yes.
Okay.
Like this one, there's elements of it that like just really take off right out of.
I like that there's a Wonder Woman cosplayer that is one of the freedom fighters.
Wait, there's a cosplayer that's in the first one?
Remember in the first
from
one,
Hollywood Boulevard,
it's the Wonder Woman.
One of the main characters is a drug dealer, and his clients are both these
basically the stormtroopers,
but also the people that work in front of Mann's Chinese Theater down there, and like
so there's a lot of familiar territory.
It's very LA book,
which is one of the reasons why I love it so much.
Yeah, it's cool.
As a matter of fact, in the very,
it kind of reminded me of like Inglourious Bastards a little bit too, like that first scene with the with the Nazi guys coming into the house and. I mean, those are Republicans nowadays.
The Jew hunter.
Oh, God. Anyway, I like how, at least in the first one, because I didn't read the second one yet, like, people are acting as if nothing is wrong, at least on Hollywood Boulevard with the tourism.
Yeah,
we're still like, this is fine.
Right, but if you peel it back a layer, you see all the shit that's actually, like, right there on top of them, but they're just ignoring
but that's the thing.
Yeah, I love it, because that's what people are going to do if it comes down to that.
Yeah.
Second issue of House of Waxworks came out.
That's mine.
It's the comic and the 7-inch vinyl soundtrack, which some of the music for this one, Shania Salt. I probably not saying.
Yeah, from White Zombie.
So one of the tracks, or two of the tracks, are by her, so it was interesting.
Best and worst shows I've ever seen in my life.
I saw them twice back then. They were fantastic both times.
Oh, I saw them. They basically played to a fucking click track. Sucked ass. But the opening band was the Cramps, and that was fucking awesome.
Oh my god, that would have been an amazing show. Wow.
On Halloween
so she
night.
did the music on that?
On one of the, it's like one or two of the tracks on the 7-inch, well, she just partnered with Waxworks at some point, and they released, she had like 200 copies of, I don't remember if it's Make Them Die Slowly. It's one of the early White Zombie albums that are actually terrible. Like, I remember back in the day when I found it, I was like, oh my god, I've never heard of this record. No, it's not. It's just really, like, they had no...
Pantera, they were glam rock.
No, they were glam rock.
Yeah, power metal? Dude,
no,
the album Power
Pantera, but
no, not White Zombie.
No,
White Zombie. No. I mean, they always had the same aesthetic. They just didn't quite. It wasn't quite there. But so Waxworks released like 200 copies of whatever old album by them that she's like probably had in her garage, right?
Oh, so there was old.
And
old
so I
stock.
think that's where their relationship with her came from. And then it probably like, you want to score one of these. So it was really cool. It's an anthology. It's 2 stories, just like the last one. I really dug it. And then today, actually, they released another comic with a 7-inch called Poser. I don't know anything about it, but I'm going to order it.
Yeah, I saw that going through my Instagram feed of House of Wax, and I screenshot it so I remember that. They're great. For those people who don't know about House of Waxwork, let them know what it is, what they're all about.
So Waxworks Records is kind of a boutique label that does mostly horror movie soundtrack reissues on vinyl. They're always beautiful pieces of vinyl, all multicolored, whatever. Great artwork. There's always bells and whistles thrown in, like a poster or whatever. And so they moved into comics about a year ago, and they're doing these comics where they give you a comic.
They're like kind of old school comics too, like 70s
comics. I mean, this is very creep show.
Yeah, it has a Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah,
it has
it's very entertaining, and they're standalone, at least thus far.
Yes, little.
Oh, Donnie Cates wrote one.
They have the director is kind of their crypt keeper. He looks kind of like David Lynch if he had no skin on his face.
Actually, I think he looks like.
Let me see the cover. No,
that's not him. That's not him.
Look at the cover. That almost looks like the dude from the cowboy guy from the second.
Oh, that does like David Lynch.
Yeah.
But I was thinking that looks like maybe John Carpenter or something.
Oh, dude, there you go.
I can see that.
Right, yeah.
See, I was gonna say the cowboy from House 2.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Great fucking movie.
You guys bored out there? You guys doing all right? Everybody good? Cool, good. All right.
Well, somebody's gonna get involved soon because we're gonna do a Close Your Eyes and Feel This in a few minutes.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, we have a little comment here. If you want to go back to the swamp thing real quick. Kristen Perez said that she read that this week, and she definitely wants to see where it goes, but wishes Kirkman would have given us something besides post-apocalyptic.
Oh, not Swamp Thing, Oblivion Song.
Oblivion Song.
Yes. And Kristen is one of the...
Is that what Oblivion... Oh.
Oblivion Song isn't
Sorry, she didn't name names, so...
Well, Kristen is one of the co-owners of Heidi Ho Comics. Let's give them a shout-out. Great store. Santa Monica, California.
Oblivion Song is not post-apocalyptic.
It's not.
It's not. It is now. I mean, it's this world that we live in.
Didn't you say it was kind of a 9/11 reflection, though? Which is, 9/11 was an apocalypse.
Well, they had the black memorial wall with names, so that was more Vietnam memorial.
I mean, it looks like it definitely has a
memorial.
tone.
I mean,
if you looked in the Twin Towers, it was pretty apocalyptic for you that day.
Fuck, dude. If I was a fucking kid in Sandy Hook, that'd be apocalyptic, dude. But I'm just saying, it's not a real apocalyptic thing. Post-apocalyptic, that's Mad Max. That's the wasteland. That's the whole fucking scorched earth.
That's,
fucking.
Yeah. Cal Exit is getting towards apocalyptic.
I think you're too insensitive.
Because if you lived in like a 4-block radius, you lived in New York when that happened, didn't you? Did it feel post-apocalyptic?
That's interesting.
That's interesting.
The world had changed.
Yeah, I lived
That's
in the
not
West
what that
Village.
means,
I
dude.
lived about a mile from it. I lost a friend of 17 years.
Jesus.
Way to bring the show down, dude.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. That is
I
my
didn't
fault.
think it was post-apocalyptic. I didn't
Okay,
think
so you agree with this asshole?
But it changed.
It's not post-apocalyptic.
The man was there, for Christ's sake. Jesus. I know better. I saw it on TV.
Oh, God. So real quick, I was 11 years old and I didn't understand the gravity of the situation at all. Jon Stewart was on TV crying about it, and that's when I realized this was a big fucking deal.
When Jon Stewart cried.
Jon Stewart cried about
fucking
it.
Green Lantern
On
sheds
a
a
funny
tear.
show.
God damn Jon
Oh,
Stewart.
sorry.
But yeah, so moral of the story, you were there. I feel like if I was there, it looked post-apocalyptic to me. But I understand they didn't get nuked. But
Well,
here's the, I mean, like,
what you're saying.
I mean,
Because
technically,
the
it could have
people who
led
were
to
covered in
that.
Dust, you could kind of say, look, that we're walking up.
yeah.
Trains weren't running for a while.
Yeah.
The area of the West Village was kind of closed off for a bit, where you had to prove that you lived in the West Village.
Whoa.
Yeah.
For like a day or two, so you could
Whoa.
get back home.
And you lived there at
I
that
lived
time,
in
right?
the West Village too. I got into plenty of arguments with police officers over saying, I lived here for 10 years before it happened. I said, I don't have to show you my ID at all.
Whoa.
So it felt more like martial law than post-apocalyptic, let's say.
Okay.
Oh shit. Okay, and then Rick and Morty referenced that in season 3, episode 1.
Which really brought it home
In
for
a
you.
memory. No, he says you can barely hear it, but he says they're going to use this to take away our freedoms. Like weird shit all the time.
Yeah.
Before we do Close Your Eyes and Feel This, I got one more book I want to talk about. I have two, but I got to reread the one, so I'm not going to talk about it. Jeff that works here turned me on to this. You guys know me. I like Batman, but I just don't read Batman because I feel like unless there's a creator that's going to work on it, like the last time I read it was Grant Morrison. I read that the whole time he wrote it. It was fantastic. But I don't need Batman on a monthly basis. I need great Batman stories, but not Batman every month because it just becomes like, okay, I like
start to finish Batman stories, not this kind of, just you fucking.
Although that Tom King Batman one is really good,
Yeah,
one of my favorite ones.
It still is.
One of my favorite Batman stories, which I know you're going to love, is the Neil Gaiman, whatever happened to Kid Crusader.
We did it on here before, and that was like in the mid or near the end of the Morrison run. They did that as kind of like
as a coda. Like Alan Moore, What Happened to Man Smiles.
So Jeff brought it. He's like, "Oh, are you reading White Knight?" I'm like, "I don't know what that is." And he showed it to me. I'm like, "Oh, it's Batman." It's Sean Gordon Murphy writing and drawing it. Now he did Punk Rock Jesus, which is like just amazing. He did The Wake with Scott Snyder. He did Joe the Barbarian with Grant Morrison, and he did. There's another one I'm totally missing that he did fairly recently. But so he's doing this. I think it's 8 issues. They're on 6. And the setup for this, it's not the regular DC universe, which is also a plus because we don't need to have baggage. And he kind of like jumbles some stuff around so it works better. I feel like
almost like one of the Elseworlds.
Yeah, it's like an Elseworlds.
It's a little pocket universe story.
So the Joker ends up like it starts out with him and Batman, and they're doing their thing, and then somebody gets footage on their phone of Batman basically beating the shit out of the Joker, and like it's in this pharmaceutical plant and he's shoving these pills down his throat, beating him, and then this goes viral, and then all these political commentary, and it doesn't lean either way. It's right down the middle, so that I like that right away.
Sounds like it's leaning one way.
All these social justice warriors get on it, and they're like, "This is outrageous. He's a human being," and they start defending the Joker on social media and all that. I mean, it's so timely. And so what these pills have done, we don't know why yet. They've basically cured him. So he comes out of this as Jack Napier, and he's like, "I know I've been a terrible person, but I want to use my insight to help things." And he starts this campaign where, like, first he discovers there's a $3 billion a year.
Can I just pause you real quick? When the parents walk the kids out of the bathroom and tell them to cover their ears, we are horrible, horrible people. We're not that bad.
Well, I mean,
but go ahead.
It's 10:30.
It is 10:30.
So the social justice warriors are all over this, and then so he starts using this as like Jack Napier starts using this as a political platform and saying, like, "I know I did wrong, but I want to use this to help." He discovers that there's a $3 billion a year disaster relief fund that Gotham has for Batman. Because he starts spinning it where he's like, "Look, whenever he fights these people, he brings them to." Do they do it where the rich people live, where the 1% live? No, they go to Backport, where it's all the poor people, and they destroy shit there.
So you telling me that Batman fights crime in Crime Alley and shit gets fucked up? He doesn't go to fucking the Upper West Side of Gotham?
It's really interesting, though.
Shit.
So then, like, there's 6 issues in. I was reading 5 earlier. I didn't make it to 6. I'm behind, but. So now Napier's using this as a run for councilman, and there's this great moment where people are like, "It's a Joker. Nobody's gonna fucking vote for him." And I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like the commentary is so like on the nose, but not. It's really great. But I want to know where it goes, and he's done these interesting things where they let him out of Arkham, and he looks normal. He goes back to Zoinko's joke shop, and Harley's there. And he calls her Puddin', and she smacks him. And then the real Harley Quinn shows up, and it turns out he plays this whole thing with the Harley Quinn. You know, she went from looking like the jester-looking Harley Quinn from the cartoon to looking to the sex pot one now, right? Well, he plays this as like, it's not the same woman. The original one got fed up with him and left, and this one was like in a bank robbery that he was in and ended up being an accomplice, and he just basically at one point hands her the suit and starts calling her Harley. So
shit, I fucking like that.
It's brilliant because it totally points out the fact that, like, yeah, you fundamentally changed this character. Like,
they've never done her justice since the original. Anyway,
and there's a moment where the original one looks at the costume. Wait, she looks at the costume of the Suicide Squad Harley, and she's like, "Yeah, that's a real step for women's rights, right?"
Fuck yeah, dude. Anyway,
wow. So yeah, that's the so there's no catching here, guys.
So anyway,
just choose a dude.
I think Gary needs to play. because it's his first
What do
episode.
what do we pull?
Yay.
Be brave.
Waxwork. That's a.
If Chris takes his penis out, I'll say, what's your safe word?
This'll be-
Sea cucumber.
Cucumber.
So Gary, what'll happen is you'll approach.
Here's 3.
And then
He needs to sign the disclosure agreements
there's
first.
not a disclosure agreement. Watch it. Like at some point in court, they'll be playing this back and they'll pause it after I say, "There's not a disclosure." They'll be like, Mr. Baker, did you say that? Do you deny? We have you on camera.
So what's he
So
gonna,
we're going to hand you 4 things, and then you just say which one you think is. They may be of various. So actually, I'm going to ask you accept them with 2 hands. Because they may have, I just don't want you to drop one because Mike freaks out.
Because I hate it when cat shit falls on the floor.
Okay, so.
All right, here we go.
Yes. So you gotta come up.
No.
What's your favorite?
Feels the best.
Your
Yeah, you're
favorite.
not guessing
Fair
yet.
enough.
So at this point, I'm just going to say, Mike, I'm going to hand these to you. You give them to him one at a time.
Okay, all right. Give me
Close
here.
my eyes. Yep. Close your eyes.
Mix that in.
Close your eyes and think about.
Oh, yeah, we'll do that one
tomorrow. Oh, wait, that goes. I gotta move this.
Yeah, no, that's
Hold on.
That's going to be the.
All right, Jesus Christ.
Yes, my
I can't believe they're doing this to you.
So that's
You
A.
move a lot of shit. You should move your shit too.
Yeah.
All right, you like the feel of that?
Yeah. Nice
All right.
glosses.
All right, here we go.
Oh my god.
Good.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
That's option B. What feels better so far?
A.
A. Okay. All right. Cool. Here we go. Here's option C.
All right. Little sturdier paper.
That's what she said.
Okay.
You like that? Which one's the best so far?
I like C so far.
All right,
'cause
you ready?
it's like thicker,
Here comes
heavier
D.
texture.
All right, here comes Steve.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, this man works out. This man works out.
All right. Is this like one of those like 70 years of Marvel? That's what it feels like.
It's the illustrated Bible.
This is nicely put together.
It is nicely bound.
See, I work in advertising, so I deal with paper all the time. Because I work in print.
You carry loads of it, apparently.
Yes, I do.
All right.
This is nice. This is a nice book.
So does that feel better than C?
Well, it's apples and oranges.
I was just going to say that.
It is because it's nice cardstock, nice heavy cover. I like C as a regular monthly comic because I like the texture, the thickness of the paper.
Can I tell you something, dude?
Open your eyes.
32 pages of Guns A-Blazing beats
I know,
1,000 pages of fucking Frank Miller.
Yeah.
In your
I
face,
have all 5
Frank.
of these. You know I bought all
Yeah,
5
you
of
do.
these. Yeah, 'cause
You
I
knew-
like-
you
I
knew
love
that
the
when you
paper
felt the-
stock.
yeah.
Yeah, I love the paper
Thank
stock
you.
you use. Yeah, I really
That's our new plug on the back cover of
Hooray.
issue 6.
Right.
Like, you know, spend $5 on this, so you don't have to spend $100 on that.
This is nicely put together.
Oh, I did not spend $100 on
These
that.
are
Sorry, weren't you
But
supposed
if
to
I
talk
had to
about
spend-
something?
For an independent book?
I talked about
It's-
it.
my man.
it always
I'll pay you
is.
later.
It always
Oh,
is.
wait,
Talked
wait.
about last time?
Yeah, I
There's
did
your,
bring
there's
it
your
up.
space stuff.
It's probably
Yeah, I wanna
here
try it.
somewhere.
You want a Stella?
Okay.
I'm good. I got my. I don't know where I put it.
Just
really-
checking.
By the way, this
Thank you very much.
fucker is 12 pounds. dude.
So bring us out on that. Tell us about that.
So this came out a couple of years ago, which we got to start doing a segment of just what
No.
dumb shit that Chris bought.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I'll make
What
a
do we
little
do?
theme song. We got to do a new segment called "What Dumb Shit Did Chris Buy This Time."
This isn't dumb.
So this month,
No, that's not. Yeah,
I picked up this, and it's Frank Miller's Big Damn Sin City, and that's it. It's every goddamn thing he did for Sin City. It is. Does it even
Probably
say
1,000 pages at least.
1,354 pages?
You know, good for him for doing
Yeah,
that
I
much.
agree.
What's the
comic.
price point?
The price point, well, what they have $100 is
Say
what
it
they
in
have listed
pounds.
on here.
Say it
Yeah,
in
it's not
pounds.
bad.
12.
No.
12 pounds.
Money pounds. I
And
want to
it's
make
well
a joke.
bound.
You
That's
want
what
me to
this
drop a
thick
conversion
binding
rate right
off
now?
the-
Yeah.
You want
Yeah.
Because I want to say it didn't weigh anywhere
Yeah.
near that much.
100 pounds.
It didn't weigh anywhere near that much.
No, yeah, so
That was terrible.
I'm ripping off Robot Chicken. Shut up.
I know
it's,
you
it's,
are.
it's good value for
Still
the money.
terrible.
So, from Drinking with
That was
Comics,
gonna go straight to
that's
the
it for tonight. Thank you. Good night.
And good luck.
Whoa, 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 whoa.